what's going on, guys? So you know me, I'm always helping out new people try and get into reps and see that is in Gilly's Discord. Now throughout helping people, I constantly get asked the same questions time and time again. So for this video, I'm literally going to go over all the questions that are constantly asked, the ones that are more simple to answer and that don't require an in-depth explanation, even though people might think they do. And before I get into this as well, I'm going to timestamp all of the questions down below in the description and in the sub questions. And if you're also new, please make sure to like and subscribe if you like this type of content and the other content that I do. Now I'm going to basically go over, as I said, the questions chronologically from being a new time buyer to when everything is shipped out. But the first most simple question is, what is an agent and how do I buy rep? Now this question is basically multi-tiered, but I'll just get into it as simple as possible. An agent is a company in China that purchases off websites like Taobao and Weidian, which are basically Replica Central, and they ship it to themselves at a warehouse in China, where then they'll keep it for you, usually 3 months for free, and they'll also send you photos of the items from different angles. And then when you would like to ship it out to yourself, you can. Now I'm not sponsored by any agent, so I won't particularly promote any. I personally use sugargoo, but you can use other ones. I recommend you do your research into different agents. There's CSS buy, WeGo buy, CityGo buy, and many other options out there. Sugargoo isn't the cheapest one. Now to point out that using an agent isn't the only way to purchase replicas. You can also direct ship from a middleman. A middleman or a direct seller is a person in China basically that shipped the shoes directly to your doorstep. You can find reliable ones and trusted ones on r/repsneakers and other places like Mr. How, 91 Sheep. Now I'll be making a video soon where I basically weigh the choice on when you should buy direct and is it worth it when versus using an agent. So I won't go into this too much, but direct shippers/middlemen tend to only have higher tier batches. So using a middleman means it will usually cost upwards of $120 shipped. For clothing though, I really don't recommend ever going direct. It's just not worth the money, especially for a t-shirt when you can get off Weidian and Taobao for much cheaper. So a lot of people ask me basically once I go over what an agent is, because they think it's too complicated, if they can just buy from Weidian and Taobao directly. You can in theory, and it's been done, but the issue is it's difficult. You don't see the item beforehand and there can be issues with shipping, etc., and you can't really follow up because it's a Chinese company. Agents kind of give you that level of security that buying directly off Taobao and Weidian don't. So a lot of people ask me this question. I don't understand. It's really mind-boggling to me. Currency on the websites like Taobao and Weidian are Chinese yuan, not yen, which is a much weaker currency. Also, some UPO sellers such as 91 Sheep put P and then the amount that the number will be in yuan. I'll show an example on the screen. And other UPO sellers have a code. And then you got other sellers like Nina who actually don't have the prices ever on their UPO, so you basically have to contact them. The best way to contact a lot of sellers is WeChat or WhatsApp. Oh my god, where to cop one-to-one tech fleece? So I constantly see people asking, oh, where can I find this specific t-shirt? Where can I find this fit, etc. Now sometimes someone will know, but it's usually annoying as it basically just shows your own laziness. As many say, the search bar is your best friend. There are 4 main subreddits where you can find and search for replicas to your heart's content: r/repsneakers, r/fashionreps, r/designerreps, and r/repbudgetsneakers. And you can literally put in anything, questions, brands, and you'll get a result. And with the help of the subreddits, you can find different shoes, clothes, and see quality check photos and see input from a number of people in the community. Now on the subreddit, you might see a lot of weird replica jargon you have never seen before, and I'll attach the official Fashion Reps guide on the meaning of certain words down below. But I'll go over a few for you guys just right now. So QC means quality check photos. It's the photos that an agent or seller sends you so you can judge how good or accurate it is. Once you see the QC, you can do 2 things. You can red light it, meaning you refund it, exchange it, or replace it. Not all sellers allow this, mind you. People like Wood Table Guy don't. Or you can green light it, which means with an agent you don't do anything. You leave it in your warehouse or you ship it to yourself. But if you're going directly, tell the seller and they'll ship it to you. Now another word is also BNS. It's bait and switching. It's basically when a seller shows a photo of a certain shoe or sends you a different batch, or it doesn't look the same as it did in the photos. This is pretty uncommon in some cases. Sellers that have done it get into a lot of flack or even get blacklisted on the subreddits. So usually you're all good with that. That's also why an agent's pretty good, because it protects you from things like that. How do I know my size? What is my size? Okay. I know it may be confusing, but China, though being made up of very small Asian people, they have the same sizing when it comes to purchasing shoes as us. It's just an EU sizing. You can easily find guides like one on the screen to convert your size, and for clothing, the sellers tend to have sizing guides, which can be translated via Google Translate from Chinese, and the measurements are usually in centimeters. You can also see quality check photos on the subreddit, which have measurements on them as well, and most of the times you can usually assume that the item is true to size. Oh my god, is H12 a website? website, is LJR a seller? No, okay, so LJR and H12, for example, are batch. There's DT batch, there's OG batch, there's OWF batch, there's SK1 batch, there's all these different batches. Batches are essentially blueprints to make the shoe for the factory, meaning different sellers can have the same batch. Some are exclusive to certain sellers, but that's not always the case. I'll most likely break down batches in a different video, so like this video if you want to see that. The question I always get with this is, do UA shoes exist? No. UA shoes is basically just a word for people on TikTok and Instagram just to be fucking dickheads. They basically try and say their shoe is UA so people think, oh, they're so good, they're so much better than they actually are. UA means unauthorized shoes, and it usually implies that Nike's factory had an issue and they were actually pumping out more shoes, and unauthorized pairs were made or stolen, and they're actually retails but they're being sold for cheaper. The only actual UA shoe out there is Revenge Storms, is because fucking Ian Connor, I guess, beat up too many wives and the factory got mad. Basically, you can see that UA shoes is just a word for companies to basically clickbait you into thinking their shoes are better than they are. And with this, a lot of people find shoes on Instagram and TikTok and think that people that are promoted on Instagram and TikTok are good. If you post a fucking link and say, oh, are these shoes good? And if you go on repsneakers and there are only 2 QCs or 0, they usually aren't good. Random websites are sometimes good, but they're usually inflated prices and you don't know what you're getting for your money. I just stick to trusted sellers. They don't even need to be trusted on r/repsneakers because there are sellers that are banned on there, are blacklisted, that are still good and reliable sellers. Please be careful with your money and just research where you're buying from. Don't be dumb and post, oh, is this fucking random ass .ru website good? It's usually not, unless it's trusted, obviously. I'm gonna get into some of the questions you get once someone's purchased. Someone quality check this. Oh, please, let me see the flaws. Now, I don't blame anyone asking for quality checks, and I usually advocate for it, but only in the QC chat, not in rep help. Now, everyone's good at quality checking, not everyone, and that's fine, but it also doesn't take a fucking genius, okay? You don't need to be Albert Einstein, Isaac Newton, to make a judgment for yourself as well by comparing to other shoes by the same sellers on the subreddits, posting it to the subreddits, or looking at in-hand images on the internet. So before you even get your shoe as well, there's sometimes issues where the seller isn't shipping out my item to the warehouse. Oh, it's been 2 days. No. Okay, I've waited a month for a t-shirt to get to the warehouse, so just always be patient. It's also not an uncommon occurrence for sellers to basically put false tracking labels or give it to your agent. However, you don't want to be a dick to your agent. In China, respect is a really big thing, especially in Asian culture, and they try their best as agents as well. If you have an issue with the seller, that's not with your agent either. Basically, what you could just say to your agent is like, look, hey friend, can you please urge the seller to ship out the item as soon as possible? And that's it. And then you can hope and I'll address some questions right now in terms of shipping and declaring. One of the main questions I get, is it worth shipping 2 items? No, it's usually not. And this is because how shipping is charged is basically you pay for the first 500 grams or 1 kilo at base rate. This base rate is about 180 yuan, for example. And every subsequent 500 grams or a kilo, you pay a third of the price. So it doesn't usually make sense to do 1 item because then you'll just be paying base rate for a singular item versus paying for base rate and subsequent numbers for a number of items. So usually it's good to stay 4 to 5 kilo range if you're worried about maybe it's your first time buying, maybe you want to test it out. Stick to that much. Don't ship out 1 item. It's just not worth it. So with this, a lot of people ask, why is shipping so expensive? So you're shipping from China, it's not Amazon, it's going to be expensive, it's going overseas. You can use uabat or sugargoo calculators, I'll also link those down below for you guys, where you can basically estimate how much shipping is going to cost you to your location. And also, this is estimates. You can basically guesstimate how much your haul is going to weigh. Hoodies are 700 to 800, shoes are basically usually 1200 to 1500, and so on and so on. And people will also say, oh, how much can I ship? Now this depends on your country. This is also where, own research. US Customs, for example, are quite lenient and people can get large packages through quite easily. 15 kg, 20 kg has gone through before, 10 kg. In other countries, it's necessary to stay under a certain weight. For the UK, I recommend under 9, for example. And you could just go onto Reddit and literally put in your country and see what other people are shipping. So for EU, it can be different. Basically, when who you choose to ship as well is also something that takes a bit more effort and research on your part. Now, it's commonly accepted if you ask this question, oh, who do I ship with? People will just say EMS. Now, this all hangs on on where you're from. For example, SAL is the go-to for Canada, EEMS is the go-to for the UK. Now I can't go down a list of who's the best for per country, and you can easily find out for yourself by going onto the Reddit and seeing what else people are shipping with. People also say, WIMS, what about DHL? What about FedEx? What about SFCD and all of these other ones? Now again, this is where your own research comes into. It would be excessive for me to go through all of them. EMS is the most common for the US, but with recent delays, people are looking at alternatives. You can easily go to the Reddit and look up your country and then shipping and see what people recommend or see what other people are testing out and trying. One thing that people also worry about along with shipping is declaring. People ask me, if I declare $100, do I pay $100? I think it's pretty obvious no, and I've seen this question a lot, surprisingly. Customs declaration is basically the amount that you're claiming to customs of your country that the items are worth in your package. Most people declare under the amount to not pay taxes in their country. So basically how it works is for all countries minus the EU and some other random countries, if you declare over a certain amount, that number will be taxed. The percent varies per country. For example, the cutoff for the UK is 135 pounds. So if you declare above that, you're going to get taxed a percentage of that. For Canada, it's over $18. It honestly just depends on your country. So in those cases, you want to stay under. If you don't declare as well, that's not always an issue. Sugargoo will still declare the total amount of the items you purchased. So make sure that you declare it and do your research into it. How much should you declare? So this all depends on the cutoff, as I mentioned before, and I recommend you go on the subreddit and check. But for the US, however, there's like a golden rule. It's $12 per kilo, and as mentioned in my how to buy reps in the UK, for the UK it's $8 to $11 per kilo. The EU, for example, recently got a change where customs will tax any package no matter the declare amount, and I recommend you take a look at the Reddit thread I linked down below if you are from the EU. I get asked this a lot. Again, it's really boggles my mind. Did I get seized? If you get seized, you will know it. You will get a letter saying such, and it will update as that on your track. Just because it's sitting in customs for a day or so does not mean it's been seized. It just means that customs can be backlogged. It's very rare to get seized, and it happens primarily for 3 reasons. A random check of your package, and they see that the items based on the declared amount would likely make it counterfeit, or that you're just trying to pass taxes, so they'll basically tally up the amount it would be worth locally and basically tax you on that. Also, another reason would be your package looks suspicious to them. This could be for a number of reasons. I'm not a customs agent, I couldn't tell you. And also it could be you declared a retarded amount. Now this is not always the case, but it's happened before where people declare $1. Customs declaration really doesn't make or break if you get seized at all, to be honest. It always just depends. It's usually just chance. Now I also get a lot of questions like, oh, how do I track my parcel? How do I track my haul? I recommend personally 17track.net, Parcel apps, or Aftership, which are all linked down below, and there's also iOS apps and Android apps you can also download for them. So with this, a lot of people also get impatient and constantly look it up. So updates are just basically when your package gets scanned. So a lot of questions I get is, why is my package on airline depart for 3 days? What is this update? Oh my god, can EMS bust a nut in my ass any quicker? As I said, updates happen every time your package has been scanned, and this is not always happening. It's not constantly being scanned by someone, it's sometimes just sitting somewhere. So the most important updates in my opinion are airline received it, airline departs, obviously when it's in your fucking country. So the first update I mentioned is airline received. It means that the airline company has received it. Now here's where the misconceptions. Airline departs does not mean that your plane has departed. It means that the company has cleared it to be put on a plane, and this can take weeks or days. At that point, it's in God's hands. All you can do is hope and pray, but also most importantly, be patient. You don't want to be that dick that's constantly complaining about, oh, my package has been waiting for 10 days, 5 days. Some people have waited a month and haven't complained. Just wait and see. So the main thing to focus on is just being patient and just take a minute. Don't constantly complain. A lot of people are also in the same boat with EMS delays, SAL delays, and all of that with you guys. Shipping can easily get delayed for a number of reasons throughout the world. This can be tariffs, issues like the pandemic, and other things. So just be patient. The slightest issue can make minor or major delays. So again, just be patient. Anyway, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys did enjoy and I answered all your questions. If you got more specific questions, obviously put them in rep help on these discords, or even contact me if you got some questions. I'm always happy to help. But I hope this helped you understand kind of the basics and not be asking questions that are constantly asked, and also empowers you also to do your own research. So yeah, that's about it. Peace out.